One of the most important things on the XM is the setting of the hand controls and just the general ergonomics of the handlebars. So we're going to show the fellas from SnoWest how I like to set these ones up for ease of use. The first thing we're going to look at is the handlebar angle. So we'll make sure that the riser is in line with the post. That way you'll have the most amount of leverage and the least amount of feedback from the skis and everything, that when they cross the hill you don't get that twitch in the handlebars. So you want to make sure that's in line. Next thing, you want to make sure that the angle of the handlebars where your hands go is just a slight incline, probably from 2 to 4 degrees, just very slight. So your elbows are slightly elevated at your side when you're standing on the sled. And we're going to want to make sure you clamp or when you tighten the clamps, make sure that they're tightened equally from the front to the back for the handlebars. Next thing we're going to move over to is the kill switch. I just move that in a little bit, leave it loose enough so you can push it forward or backward or underneath or however you prefer it. And we're just going to move the throttle in probably about 1/2 inch. What we want to do there is, so when your hand is on the flat part of the bar, not going around the turn down on the end, with your hand on the flat part of the bar, you want to be able to comfortably grab or your thumb in the middle of the throttle lever, and you should be able, and just run it at a bit of an angle down as well. So when you're working off the right hand side of the sled on a side hill or whatever you have, that you can reach around and pull it with your fingers from the bottom. So you should be able to have a nice smooth transition from thumb to fingers and be able to keep the throttle at a constant speed. The next thing we're going to do is move over to the brake lever and reverse switch. We're just going to tilt the brake lever up to get it out of the way, and then we're going to move the reverse switch in about 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch, and what that does, move it in towards the center of the machine. And what that does is, when you're side hilling on the left, it gives you clearance between the button and your index knuckle, and that'll also make it easier to grab the brake. So now we're going to tip the brake back down, move it up against the RER button housing. Don't move it too far. You want to make sure that when your left hand is on the flat part of the handlebar and you put your index finger out, that you're somewhere in the middle of the lever or close to it. That way you'll have the most leverage and you'll have the best control. It's also important to have the lever fairly level with the handlebars. Don't worry about the master cylinder being tipped up towards you. You want to leave it loose enough too that when you grab the master cylinder with both hands, that it can move. That way if you tip it over on a rock or a stump, it doesn't break. And with the brake lever straight ahead or fairly level, that will be able to, if you set it like that, you will be able to get at it regardless of where you are on the snowmobile. And when you're in a precarious position on the right hand side of the snowmobile and it's off camber, you can still have your finger on the brake. That way you can maintain full control of the snowmobile regardless of your position.